Kitchen table decks can be described as baby vintage. You can use any cards you want, but it's probably not going to be a meta deck, just cards you had lying around that you can play around with your buddies with. This deck is an idea I've had for a long time. It just dumps lands out and then you just use creatures and their landfalls abilities. And it's definitely not meta and it's not that good, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We start with Augmenter Pugilist, which has been collecting dust in my own personal box at home. It's the card that started this idea, and it's a rather good card actually. 3/3 for 3 with trample ain't bad, and it has potential to become an 8/8 as long as we have 8 or more lands, which shouldn't be hard to do in this deck. There are 4 of them. This card of course flips into Echoing Equation for a really cool effect of turning all our creatures into copies of our best creature. So if we've got out at least one other Pugilist and some other creatures, we could have a few 8/8 tramplers to swing in for the win with. To build upon this land theme, I've added 4 copies of Scythe Leopard. It's one I desperately want to add to a pauper deck, but can't, and it's one that's just not good enough compared to other cards that do the same thing. But here it sits. I absolutely love this card though. 1/1 for 1 that has a landfall which gives it +1/+1 until end of turn. This is a cheap creature drop that can grow pretty fast and it's just cool looking. Now here's one with basically the same ability. Kazandu Mammoth is amazing. It gives +2/+2 until end of turn for all of your landfalls and doubles as a land if we need. There are 4 of these. The idea of this deck is definitely to overwhelm with large creatures. With the landfall abilities, nothing is more than 3 mana value in the deck, so we'll be casting left and right. Let's add one more landfall creature. That creature is Lotus Cobra. Landfall, add another mana, it's just so good. 4 of them should make this deck run smoothly, helping us cast all these things pretty quick. To start searching our deck for lands, we'll cast one of 4 copies of Topiary Stomper. This thing rocks. 4/4 vigilance for 3 that searches for a basic into play tapped. It's just incredible. Triggers our landfalls, gives us a body, and gives us shrubberies as we've always needed. It can't block or attack until we have 7 or more lands, but hey, that should happen pretty fast. 2 copies of Rampant Growth help us just search up lands we need, again triggering landfalls. 4 Explorers help us get rid of lands from hand and draw a card. Scale the Heights is very similar to Explore. It does the same thing, but it also adds a +1/+1 counter to a creature and gains us 2 life. So not too shabby for 1 extra mana, and there are 2 of these. Roiling Regrowth is another one that just slaps. This is a crop rotation that searches for 2 basic lands instead of 1 of any land. Sure, it's not searching for any land, but 2 for 1 works great for landfall decks, and we'll just need all the lands we can get, and there are 3 of these. And another 3 copies of Entish Restoration, literally the same thing as Roiling Regrowth, but if we control a creature with power 4 or greater, we'll search for 3 basics instead. It's just a fantastic upgrade, and Topiary Stomper makes the second part really easy to trigger, and even if we don't trigger the 3 land thing, again, 2 for 1 is still perfect. Now we need some removal. So how about 4 Kenrith's Transformations? It makes another creature a vanilla 3/3 and it draws us a card. It's fantastic and really helps us get through some other nasty things that might come our way. We can really deal with a 3/3 in the deck, to be perfectly honest. For lands, I've got 19 forests and 3 islands for those Echoing Equations. I chose to do all basics because that's what we'll be searching for, and I don't really want to get stumped. I know this isn't the greatest deck in the world, but I really like stuff like this, and it just brings me back to when I started playing Magic. Kitchen table was just whatever we had. Nothing powerful, but everything was just really fun. So there's not really a sideboard or anything because, you know, you'll sideboard in whatever you want because you're chilling at home or whatever with your buddies. So what would you add or get rid of from this deck? If you'd like to make any purchases of these cards, make sure you click that TCGplayer affiliate link in the description below. Thank you to my Patreon subscribers, and thank you for watching. Make sure you join me next week for your weekly dose of Magic.